Campobello Island has long held close ties with their American neighbors in Maine. Residents of the quaint city of Eastport share the same breathtaking views of the shifting tides and rolling fog coming from the Passamaquoddy Bay to the Bay of Fundy as their Canadian counterparts. Despite the border dividing Canada and the United States, the two seaside communities of Eastport and Campobello Island are painstakingly close to one another. But years-long plans here on Campobello Island to develop a passenger ferry across this short stretch of water are being prolonged by border issues.
There was traditionally ferry and boat access back and forth. There used to be a ferry right over to Deer Island, and then a Deer Island ferry that went to Eastport. That got discontinued, and it kind of cut that connection to Eastport. It's a traditional century-old connection, and so this was an effort to reestablish that, if the difference being only passengers at this point. We're all one big community across this bay, intermarriages across the bay, all kinds of things. It's just the way it is. It's a good life.
You're trying to get this ferry to happen between these two places. How has that been, trying to get all your ducks in line for that?
It's been more of a struggle than we could have imagined, and in our case, it's a little 12-passenger ferry. It just seemed inconceivable to me that we couldn't deal with a 12-passenger vessel 3 times a week, a couple trips a day. It's not a monumentally large undertaking.
Here on Welsh Pool Wharf is where the ferry would depart from Campobello Island, and it would have landed here in Eastport, Maine. This small American city just across from Campobello has become a big draw for tourists in recent years, especially as a cruise ship port. If you travel by boat, it's only 2 kilometers from this side to the other. But if you were to make the drive from here to Campobello Island, it would take a trip of more than 65 kilometers, all the way around Cobscook Bay, a full hour's drive.
We hope it's the first step in opening up other ways to get here by boat. The cruise ship industry obviously is looking to this area more than ever before, as Bar Harbor has had a moratorium on the amount of cruise ships. Cruise ships can bring in thousands of visitors at a time. Obviously that's great for an economy that's largely based on tourism and natural resources. And so we hope that the ferry is the beginning of a process of better cooperation with both borders and better ways of getting people to these more remote tourism-based destinations.
However, it's been a challenge to get the boat off dry land. Border officials have been in negotiations with the ferry proponents for several years.
So it's incredibly frustrating. And as I said, what I'll do is when I come back home from work, sometimes I live across from Eastport, so I see what's going on. My home is right across the bay. I've got from my deck, I sit and I can look out at Eastport. We watch the 4th of July fireworks, in Eastport. So I've got a bird's eye view all the time. So I see the ships come and go. And when I see them arrive there, and the difficulty that they're having getting their people this far, I'll give you a concrete example. And I'm probably going to mispronounce this, so forgive me, but the Raoul Amundsen, the big tour ship, made it all the way through the Northwest Passage to get to this bay and could not get the last mile to Campobello Island. And that's a crying shame. It's just a shame. That one really hurt.